Hi guys, welcome! In this video, we'll explore the PvP and WoE build for genetics which utilize health plants, improve asset demonstration, and fire expansion. The genetic is one of the best class for PvP and WoE. They have improved asset demonstration and fire expansion that have the potential to one-hit kill squishy enemies and break their equipment. They can also summon health plants that can deal massive damage, inflict the bleed and curse effect, and reveal hidden players. They also have a variety of useful offensive and defensive skills that can remove ground skills, increase cast time of enemies, and resurrect the genetic from the dead. In this guide, we'll discuss the most important stats, skills, runes, equipment cards, and tips for the genetic PvP and WoE build. Do take note that this build requires a lot of gold medals and guild contribution to fully maximize the potential of your runes. I hope that by the end of this video, you'll have a clearer idea on how to be an effective genetic in PvP and WoE. Since this is a detailed video, I'll have timestamps down below. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. First, let's start with a stat build. The stat allocation for this build is hybrid since genetics can benefit from having a variety of stats. First off, allot points on dexterity enough to get a total of 60 with the bonuses. This is essential to have an instacast improved asset demonstration and fire expansion with ally armor and lift. Your dex stat also affects the probability of breaking the enemy's equipment with a passive skill, chemical weapon destruction, which we'll talk about later. Next, allot around 80 to 90 strength since this will increase physical attack for higher base damage of your skills. Then allot around 80 to 90 intelligence since this will increase your magic attack which affects the damage of improved asset demonstration and fire expansion. It also increases max SP and SP recovery speed. In addition, genetics have the int switch runes which give more attack for every point of int. Lastly, allot the remaining points on vitality which will increase max HP, HP regen speed, and defense needed for higher survivability. Fit is also needed for increasing the damage of improved asset demonstration and fire expansion with Acid Terror. Next, let's discuss the most important skills to get. For the merchant skills, you should prioritize level 10 Loud Exclamation to increase strength by 10 points. Then the rest of the points is up to you. As a suggestion, you can go for level 10 Buying Low to buy NPC items at a discount, then level 10 Overprice to sell items at a markup. You may also opt for level 5 Fundraising to get 10% more Zenny when farming. And lastly, level 5 Change Card to increase the storage cap and to be able to equip Light and Cat cards. For the Alchemist skills, you may get level 10 Acid Terror, with Neatis at max level since this will increase to improve asset demonstration damage at higher levels. Level 5 Asset Demonstration, which is a useful AoE skill that deals fire damage to enemies and has a chance to break the enemy's weapon. Level 10 Axe Hammer Mastery to increase the attack of axes and maces by 60 points. Level 5 Gene Modification to increase luck and dexterity, which will increase the chance of breaking the enemy's gear. Level 1 Call Homunculus to summon Lift, which is essential to instacast fire expansion with ally armor. Level 4 Resurrect Homunculus to revive Lift and restore 100% of her HP. And lastly, level 5 Homunculus Strength 1, which will increase Lift's max HP and magic attack. For the creator skills, you should prioritize getting level 3 Powerful Asset Demonstration to unlock level 10 Improve Asset Demonstration, which will be our main PvP skill as a creator. For brevity, we'll refer to this skill as IAD. The damage of IAD is based on both physical and magic attack. It has a chance to break the enemy's equipment and ignores fleas, so your attacks won't miss. Next, a level 10 Hell Plant which summons plants that deal neutral damage with a % chance to bleed and curse a target. This can also reveal hidden units when the attack connects. Next, a level 10 Homunculus Strength 2 to increase the skill multiplier of Hell Plant and to increase Lift's magic attack and damage reduction. Level 3 Chemical Protection Weapon, and level 3 Chemical Protection Armor which protects your ally's weapon and armor from being broken. And lastly, level 1 Chemical Weapon Destruction which increases the probability of breaking the enemy's equipment depending on your dex and luck stats. Once you've reached Job Breakthrough, you may allocate the additional skill points on the following: Level 20 Improve Acid Demonstration to further increase the damage output. Level 20 Acid Terror, since a higher skill level of Acid Terror improves the bit damage multiplier of IAD. And lastly, level 20 Axe Hammer Mastery, which would increase attack by 10%. Alright, now for the genetic skills, should prioritize getting level 3 Demonic Fire, which is a good AoE skill that has a chance to inflict the burn status. Level 5 Searing Storm, which enhances the effect of Demonic Fire, whereby enemies in Demonic Fire will suffer higher damage from improved acid demonstration. And our next skill, Fire Expansion. Fire Expansion is our core offensive skill for PvP and WoE. This will let us cast improved acid demonstration to a target, which will deal splash damage to up to 5 enemy units. At max skill level 10, the splash damage can reach up to 70%. In addition, this has a chance to break the equipment of enemies. Do take note that this skill consumes 2 acid bottles and 2 bottle grenades. Next, get level 5 Cart Boost, which will increase the movement speed and attack for 60 seconds when equipped with a cart. Level 1 Life Merge, which will reduce a percentage of the genetic's max HP to increase the homunculus' physical and magic attack and the Hellplant's damage. And level 5 Health Link, which will transfer the damage received by genetics to the homunculus. Alright, these are the notable skills that we should prioritize. You are free to allot the remaining skill points whichever way you like. As a suggestion, you may go for Gene Modification, which is a passive skill that increases vid and max HP. This is best paired with the genetic mutation runes for increased survivability. We'll touch on this rune later on. Or you may also opt for Crazy Weed to remove traps and magic effects from the ground, which will be useful in PvP and WoE. Note that you would need a total of 90 dexterity for no cast time. Or lastly, another option is the Mandragora Howling, which will debuff enemies, giving a reduction in int and max SP and an increase in fixed cast time of all their skills. This is a good debuff against warlocks and archbishops. Lastly, for our homunculus lift skills, prioritize getting level 3 Light of Regeneration, which will allow the genetic to be resurrected, and level 5 Greenery Light Wall for shielding against attack, which is quite similar to Kiri Eleison. Alright, before we continue, if you guys would like a more detailed explanation and demo of all the genetic skills, I've recently made a genetic skills demo and have that linked down below if you're interested. Okay, now that we're done with the skills, let's dive into the notable runes. As I've mentioned previously, this build requires a lot of gold medals and contribution to be fully effective. First, prioritize getting 4 Improved Acid Demonstration and Power runes, which grants plus 8% damage to IAD. Activating all 4 runes increase the damage of IAD by 32%. Then get 2 Improved Acid Demonstration Mastery runes, which decreases the cast delay by 0.5 seconds. Next, proceed to the 4 Fire Expansion Enhanced runes, each of which increases the damage of Fire Expansion by 6%. Activating all 4 runes increase the damage of Fire Expansion by 24%. Then get 1 Hellplant Occult rune, which increases the number of Hellplants that can coexist from 2 to 3. After that, proceed to 3 Hellplant Empower runes, which increase the damage of Hellplants by 5% each. Next, activate the 3 Homunculus Forbidden skill runes, which unlocks the Photosynthesis skill of Lif. This skill immediately restores all HP of Lif and the genetic. Then get the 5 Lif's Blessing runes, which increases the damage of IAD by 2% each. Getting all 5 runes increases the damage of IAD by a total of 10%. Lastly, get the 6 Cart Boost runes, each of which increases attack by 20 and movement speed by 2%. The additional mobility it gives is perfect for PvP and WoE, where you need to avoid AoE and ground skills. At this point, these runes would already roughly consume around 900 gold medals. However, if you have more medals to spare, here are a few other runes that may supplement the damage of IAD and Fire Expansion. We have 5 Ignore Death runes, each of which increases Ignore Death stat by 1%. 5 Strength runes, which increase Strength by 1 each. 5 Int runes, which increase Int by 1 each. 5 Int Switch runes, which increase attack by 0.2 for every point of Int. 3 Ignore MDef runes, which ignore MDef by 1% each. 3 Mace Proficient runes which increase magic attack by 10 when a mace is used, 5 Vit runes which increase Vit by 1 point each, and 4 Genetic Mutation runes which will give an extra plus 5 max HP for each point of Vit. Next, let's dive into the recommended equipment set and cards. Choosing your equipment set depends on a variety of factors such as personal budget, blocking getting enchantments, and achieving a balance between survivability and having a high damage output. First up, for the weapon, the only suitable weapon for this build is a double-slotted Elder's Hammer. It gives 340 attack and plus 4 strength, and increases the probability of equipment destruction caused by IAD and fire expansion. The higher the refinement level, the better, as each refining level would increase the skill multiplier of IAD by 30%. Thus, at plus 10 refinement, you'll get 300% increase in the IAD damage. Level it up to tier 4 for bonus attack, strength, int, and max HP. Furthermore, when both int and strength are above 119 points, it will grant plus 10% damage to acid demonstration. Having either the Tenacity enchantment for damage reduction or Morale for ignore defense would be ideal. For the cards, inlay 2 Hydra cards for additional damage against the demi-human race. Next, for the offhand, get the Chemical Protection Gloves for additional Def, MDef, Dex, and Max HP. Refine it to plus 8 for additional 3% attack and plus 12 for 5% ignore def. In addition, it has a set effect with Elder's Hammer which increases the damage of IAD by 15%. As an alternative, you may get a Static Shield for survivability as you'll receive less 25% damage from wind, earth, water, and fire attacks. Equip a Mark card for protection against the freezing effect of Storm Gust and Dreamweave Silk. Next, for the armor, perhaps the best one to get is the Alloy Armor, which will give plus 5 Vit and would reduce the fixed cast time of IAD and fire expansion by 0.5 seconds in the presence of Lift. This is vital for the no-cast IAD and fire expansion. Level it up to tier 4 for additional def and max HP. Increasing the refinement level to plus 5 will give plus 2% magic attack and attack, while increasing it to plus 10 will give plus 3% magic attack and attack. As for the armor cards, you may place an Archer Skeleton Star card for plus 2 strength and plus 5% attack, or a Moonic Star card which gives plus 15% ignore def. For the garment, you may use an Ancient Cape for plus 15 ignore defense. Or as an alternative, you may go for the Magic Staunch Mantu for survivability. It decreases neutral damage taken by 15% and increases def and max HP. Upgrading it to tier 4 and plus 10 refinement gives an additional reduction of 10% in neutral damage taken. You may then place a Raedric card which further reduces neutral damage taken by 10%. For the footgear, the Rune Boots is recommended for the plus 3% attack. In addition, it would give us additional movement speed and healing received. However, if you are using a Staunch Mana Mantu, you need to pair it with the tier 4 high fashion sandals due to the set effect which gives plus 5% magic damage reduction. In addition, on its own, it gives plus 10 MDef, plus 8% magic attraction, and plus 200 max HP. Equip a Ferris card for plus 2 Vit and plus 10% max HP. For the accessories, you may go for an Orleans Gloves for plus 10% magic attack, or a tier 4 plus 10 Eye of the Lahan for additional int, dex, and magic attack. Aim for those that have good enchants such as greater than 3% physical damage increase, Sharp Blade 3 or 4 for more melee attack, or Tenacity 3 or 4 for more damage reduction. Suitable cards for accessories are the Horn card to be able to use Sight for detecting hiding assassins and stalkers, Zerabear Star card for plus 10 hit and plus 3% attack, and the Ultraman card for plus 2% damage reduction against the demi-human race. For the headgears, these are the suggestions. For the head, you may get the Eggshell View which gives plus 5% damage reduction and prevents all equipment from being broken. Other headgear alternatives are the plus 10 Helmet of Orc-Hero or Starlight Ship for additional damage. You may inlay a Marduk card to prevent being silenced, or a G-Earth card to prevent the sleeping effect. You may also use a Fire Fledgling card to decrease the ball grenade cost of IAD and fire expansion by 1, or an Andre Star card which gives plus 2% physical penetration and 3% ignore death if strength or dex reaches 225. For the face, the Goblin Leader mask would be the best option due to the 30% additional damage reduction from the demi-human race. The Hockey Mask and Frost Masquerade Mask can also be a good option for more damage. For the mouth, it is recommended to have a high refined Angry Snarl for damage reduction to the demi-human race. A cheaper option is a Spike Scarf which increases damage to the demi-human race by 5% and at the same time increases damage reduction to the demi-human race by 5%. For the Gotcha option, the Dreamweave Silk may also be an alternative. For the back, you may offer the Midgard bag from the vending machine for defense, or the Devil Wing and Angel Wing Feather for additional damage. Lastly, for the tail, you may get the Death Fairy for magic defense, or the Guts Wing and Wind Perch Drake for additional damage. As for the pets, you may either get a Desert Wolf Baby which gives plus 5% death penetration at max skill level, or a Deveruchi which increases attack by 40 at max skill level. For cooked foods, here are the suggestions for your 6 stacks. 1 Original Will Steak for immunity against crowd control skills, 2 Original Will Green Barbecue for additional magic attack and immunity to Death Blow which can be triggered twice, and lastly 3 Original Will Juice or Original Fish Kebab for more damage in PvP. For the praying cards, here are the suggestions. For attack cards, prioritize maxing out physical penetration first, then ignore death, then damage to demi-human. For the defense cards, get magic reduction, physical reduction, neutral reduction, then HP+. Lastly, for the element cards, choose fire damage since in episode 5, fire expansion would be force fire element. Also, allot cards for fire resistant. Alright, now that we've got everything set up, let's try it out. For PvP, our main skill will be fire expansion. This can deal a lot of damage and has the potential to one-hit kill squishy enemies and break their equipment. IAD and fire expansion are affected by race, size, and elemental modifiers. Using elemental converters such as Mystic Frozen can also change the element of the skills. However, as mentioned earlier in episode 5, fire expansion would be force fire elements. For tankiness, a combination of List Shield, Health Link, and Photosynthesis should make you almost unkillable in 1 vs 1 situations. For the War of Imperium defense, Hellplants will not only deal damage but also inflict the bleed and curse effect and reveal hidden players. During WoE, we may also utilize the synergy of Demonic Fire with the Searing Storm passive. This will enhance the damage taken from IAD and Fire Expansion and other fire element attacks like Meteor Storm. Also, Mandragora Howling can be used during defense as it can increase the cast time and cast delay of enemy skills like Meteor Storm and Epiclesis. Lastly, another useful skill for defense is the Crazy Weed. This will remove traps and magic effects from the ground. However, again note that you would need a total of 90 dexterity for no cast time. Alright, so far I've gone through all the most important stats, skills, runes, equipment, cards, and tips for the genetic PvP and WoE build. With this build, we are able to perform with a combination of offense and defense. In PvP and WoE, it is not enough to deal massive damage, we should also focus on survivability as well. And with the genetic skill set, Homunculus, and your choice of equipment would definitely have an advantage against other job classes. Before I end this video, I'd like to give special thanks to my guildmate Jstine for his substantial contribution in the making of this video. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed watching this guide. If you're new here, I would love for you to consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe button down below. I would love to have you back. Thank you for watching and see you in our next episode.